We're barking. There was a noise on the back porch. I went out and checked. I didn't see anything. So, anyway, that's the way it goes. The prostitute, guardian of faith. The act of prostitution is generally associated with selling one's body for money, but to my mind, that is perhaps the least significant example of the prostitute archetype. The prostitute thrives most bountifully in subtle ways and in ordinary, everyday circumstances. It comes into play most clearly when our survival is threatened. Its core issue is how much you are willing to sell of yourself, your morals, your integrity, your intellect, your word, your body, or your soul for the sake of physical security. The prostitute archetype also dramatically embodies and tests the power of faith. If you have faith, no one can buy you. You know that you can take care of yourself and also that the divine is looking out for you. Without faith, however, you will eventually meet the price you cannot turn down. The majority of prostitutes that I have met and continue to meet are men and women who are either in bad marriages or in miserable jobs. Their inability to move out of their toxic environments is totally tied to economics. Women have told me that they do not want to be middle-aged and single or lose their social status or have to support themselves, and so they stay in unhappy marriages. Men tell me this themselves, and so men tell me this too, but not nearly as often. And men and women say, both men and women say that they remain in jobs that make them miserable or sick, violate their ethics, or make them feel bad about themselves for the sake of financial security. Many people tell me how unhappy they are and that they are waiting for just the right moment in their lives to make the big break and follow their dreams. Most often, these are the people who ask again and again, but what exactly is my contract? If I only knew I could get on with it. These people are actually hoping that I can direct them on a path that will guarantee them money and peace of mind. They want to hear that their contract will give them all the time in the world, all the money they need while doing only what they want, a cabin retreat in the woods, and last but not least, a soulmate. They also never want to age. The energies and expectations of prostitute, child, and victim all have to be addressed. All power, whether from lottery winnings or spiritual visions, will draw to you some outside opponent who will try to buy, use, or contaminate you. When Jesus was met by Satan as he prayed and fasted in the desert, Satan offered to give him the entire physical world in exchange for the power Jesus now had within him. Likewise, every time you take one step on your path of personal empowerment, you will meet someone who will want to buy a piece of your soul to render you less powerful and themselves more powerful. A shadow characteristic of the human psyche in general is that we want to find the shortcuts in life, including shortcuts to our own empowerment. If we spot someone whose power appears as if it could be bought or shared, we will be attracted to it. A perfect example is the game of name wealth. I am a friend of Mr. or Miss Famous. The diluted energy that comes down this path of who's who is, for many, valuable enough for them to remain in a relationship long past the time the friendship has grown cold. Another expression of the prostitute archetype. Confronting the prostitute within you transforms this archetype into your guardian. It will watch over your relationship to faith. Think of the prostitute as the ally who puts you on alert every time You contemplate shifting your faith from the divine to the physical. Anytime you are in a crisis of faith, try to become mindful of your thoughts and fears. Name exactly what you are afraid of, especially those fears that try to talk you into compromising yourself in any way. Fat boy, stop, please. The prostitute appears when you begin to believe that you could order your life if you just had the money to control the world around you and to buy just a bit of everyone in it. It appears when you stay in a relationship that is not good for you because you don't want to be alone. It appears when you're asked to do something unethical or illegal for the good of the company. People who are meant to bring out the prostitute in you represent the most painful relationships because prostitute interactions make us confront our fears of survival. They are often terrifying and humiliating. A woman named Belinda told me that once she became conscious of the fact that she had a prostitute archetype. She saw it everywhere. I am one of those millions of people who thought of a prostitute as someone selling sex. Never did I think I could apply that title to myself. But I'm noticing that even when I'm noticing that even when an opinion at lunch about anything from someone's new shoes to a different office policy, I run it by my "what's this going to cost me" screen. If I think an opinion is going to cost me in terms of popularity or office politics, I pass. I often say things that earn me points, even when I don't believe a word of them. After I told one executive that I thought his ideas were brilliant, I was consumed by an overwhelming urge to wash my mouth out with soap. But he has the kind of power that can make things happen in my life. I guess what I'm saying here is that I am still a practicing prostitute, but I've come a distance because at least I'm honest about it. I finally admit that I don't have enough faith to put my integrity before my mortgage and my spiritual direction before my promotions in the physical world. Although I've been talking about figurative, symbolic prostitution, I have also met many working prostitutes in my seminars. Ronnie had developed AIDS, and as a result of his work as a prostitute, and during a private conversation with me and his brother, he described all the healing methods he was using to bring about a change in his condition, except for one thing. He was unable to stop working in the sex industry. This is the world I know, and I have no idea how I would support myself if I stopped going to bars, he said. I realize that this is not helping me heal, but I don't think I have a choice. I asked Ronnie if he informed his clients that he had the illness, and after first saying that he did, he finally admitted that he didn't always. If the word got out, and it would, he said, I would not be able to work. Asked why he started in this profession in the first place, Ronnie replied, I wanted to get into acting and nothing opened up, so I had to do something. And sex is no big deal to me. Hell, I was sleeping around anyway, so why not get paid for it? Besides, it was instant money and I was on my own time. Sadly, Ronnie's brother was also a prostitute who had AIDS. Together they felt they needed to save a lot of money to provide the type of care they needed to heal this illness, or at least delay its progress. But as I listened to them, I realized that they were actually describing the kind of care they would need as they were dying. I got the impression that their prostitute archetypes were like Siamese twins, and that the collective force of their energies, combined with the loyalty they felt for each other, demanded that they both quit the street, because it was impossible for one to go it alone. Both Ronnie and his brother passed away in the autumn of 1991. The prostitution archetype can act as a guardian that awakens you to situations in which you must decide to take up your bed and walk. Once you get away from a circumstance that costs you too much money, energy, dignity, or time, lasting transformation is possible. June worked as a high-powered executive secretary for the president of a major multinational corporation. She was extremely good at her job and had a vibrant, gracious personality, which her boss Dorian learned to use to his advantage. A few months into the job, Dorian invited her to join a group of executives at a cocktail party celebrating their new client. He noticed how well she mingled and how quickly she could put people at ease. June was asked to attend more and more social events and was asked to explain to valued employees or clients why the company needed to make certain decisions. She became, in her language, a secret weapon that got launched in whatever direction was necessary for the company to get what it wanted. One day, another secretary approached June and asked her what it was like to attend all those social functions. I told her it was nice, June told me, but then she asked me if I was expected to do anything at these functions. Like what? I asked her. She gave me that, you know what I mean, look. In that instant, I realized I was being used by these men for their financial gain. That was the first and last time I would ever be made to feel like a prostitute. The next day, June exploded into her boss's office and resigned. And I didn't just resign, I said, I let him know what a pimp he was, and I kept the door open so that everyone in the office could hear what I had to say to this guy. Nonetheless, June was grateful for her experience at the firm. I learned how easily I could be used, she said. What I had thought was being supportive and social had totally different implications. My boss had an agenda that I didn't see. Now I think very carefully about what I agree to do for someone, and I remind myself that I can say no as well as yes. So that is the prostitute archetype. I'm going to read what it says in the back of the book as well. Prostitute. The prostitute archetype engages lessons in integrity and the sale or negotiation of one's integrity or spirit due to fears of physical and financial survival or for financial gain. This archetype activates the aspects of the unconscious that are related to seduction and control, whereby you are as capable of buying a controlling interest in another person as you are in selling your own power. Prostitution should also be understood as the selling of your talents, ideas, and any other expression of the self, or the selling out of them. This archetype is universal, and its core learning relates to the need to birth and refine self-esteem and self-respect. Films: Jack Lemmon, In the Apartment, Some Like It Hot, Save the Tiger, The China Syndrome, and Mass Appeal. Judy Holliday in Born Yesterday, Fred McMurray in Double Indemnity, Marlon Brando in On the Waterfront. Drama: The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe. Religion and Myth: Ochun, Yoruba Orisha of love, marriage, and motherhood, who was forced for a time to become a prostitute to feed her children. Temple prostitutes in ancient Greece, Rome, Asia Minor, and India, women who engaged in public intercourse as a way of sympathetically activating the energy of fertility. Prostitute, more than sex.